Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Simona Spark, and our mission is to build a future where no one needs to come out anymore. Together, we can create a world where everyone has the right to love, to succeed, to have a family, and to live a full, happy life. Welcome back, everyone. Our guest today is Dave. Welcome, Dave.
Hi.
I like to invite my guests to introduce themselves. So in this way, you get to decide how much or how little you want to share. So the floor is yours, sir.
Thanks. Well, my name's Dave. I live in Southern California. I was married for 27 years to a woman and have two wonderful children, whom I have a great relationship with now. I left a 20-year career up in Northern California to come down to the Southern California area because I found the love of my life, and we decided we wanted to live here in a community here with other people, well, a really strong gay community. I work in a county not very necessarily gay friendly. And so while I was completely out, I'm not out at work, and I love it here. My partner and I have a wonderful, wonderful life. Anyway, that's pretty much who I am.
Thank you. And very nice to meet you. It's incredible how in probably 1 minute you summarize your whole life. So with your permission, I would like to track back and stretch this minute a little bit and go into some details, if that's all right.
You have my permission. My pleasure.
Thank you. So married for 27 years with a woman.
Yes.
And you have two children.
Yes.
So is this means that you never come out to your family of origin, your parents?
I did not. I came out when I was 51.
Wow.
And so it was one of those situations where I was born in a very small town. You were raised that you got married, you had kids, you had grandkids, you carried on the family name. And quite frankly, even though I knew that I was attracted to men, I had this very strong desire, and also religious as well, to have a family and to not live that middle that I wanted.
How was it to live that life?
It was a wonderful life when I could fantasize about what I was truly attracted to and still have a loving relationship with somebody, because at that point, I felt that the right kind of relationship was with a woman. The second part was only with a man, right? Because that's what I was attracted to. But the real life, the real outside life was family, the kids. So it was a really wonderful, fulfilling life to raise two kids, live a family, build a life, house, career, all those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
What ended up happening, though, is I got to a certain age and it started to make me sick inside. The lies, the wanting more, the wanting something that was a real, truly loving relationship. We, rather than us growing together, we literally grew apart because my needs became so strong and so overwhelming that I just couldn't live the lie anymore. It was very difficult.
What I'm learning from other wonderful people like you that are willing to share their experience of coming out is that there is a sense of relief and a realization how hard and heavy it was until that point. How was it for you?
It was really hard at first, but I got to the point to where I realized that if I didn't change, I was going to die. And also the part is it wasn't fair to everybody. It wasn't fair because she would talk about retirement plans we were going to have. And quite frankly, I knew I couldn't make that with her. I knew I wasn't going to be able to survive. I was going to die young because I couldn't do it. I had to come out.
How do you come out to your wife for 27 years?
I actually we separated. I moved to Southern California for work. And while I was here, I literally came out. Nobody knew me here. I could be who I wanted to be down here. And that's where I realized, oh my goodness, there is a community. I had no idea this even existed. I thought that if I was going to come out done and an outcast and some weird guy down the street here, but says, yeah, you know that guy likes guys, right? But now I realized coming down here, it's like, wow. There is this whole big world out there, community. There's all different things. It was just like, wow. And so I got to come down and start to experience this whole community. And I'll tell you, I've already lived my life in a lot of ways. I'm being 51. I'm pretty good at taking the stuff that works for me and putting the rest of the stuff away because I'm not a kid anymore.
Right.
So I've learned very, very quickly what I like, what matters to me, all the same values I've ever had as a person growing up: integrity, honesty, and, be a good person. None of that's changed. The only thing that's changed is now I'm openly in love live with a man.
Yes. Thank you for making that distinction. It's very important. Your personal values and your character does not change. So track back a little bit. How was it to come out to your wife?
At first, it was very difficult. What I tried to do is I tried to figure out. I tried to just say I wanted to split, and she kept saying, "But why? We've been married our whole life. We're friends. Why are you just wanting to leave us?" And I just didn't want to tell her. And what I finally realized is then she started thinking that there was another woman. I'm like, "Oh, no, that's not what's going on here, right?" So I finally said, "Okay, I'm going to do this." And so I sat there, and it must have taken forever. And I said, "Baby, I'm gay. I want to find somebody." At that point, I hadn't met. At that point, I just wanted to be out and be able to go find a real, true relationship. There was a fair relationship, not a hiding one, not a lying one, but one that was really out in the open, a real relationship with somebody. And I told her, I said, "I can't do this anymore. I'm gay. I want to be with a man." And she was in shock. She just looked at me and went, "Oh." And then I think she suddenly realized, she started doing the math in her head, like, wait, there's nothing I can do about this. I can't change this again. And we talked about it for a little bit. And I think what she realized is that she knew she needed to let me go. She literally knew she needed to release, because she knew that it wasn't going to work any further. Now she knew the reason why. She knew what the separation was, what the distance between us was, what all those issues we had that were always underlying the surface, that big lie felt was out there the whole time we were together. She finally knew what it was. And I think for her, it started off as a good closure. Of course, it changed into, well, did you ever love me? And so why did you marry me? What did you do this for? Right? The whole thing as it starts to get into that. So we've had to work through, it's taken her years to get herself into a place. She did kind of basically say everything's hers and I left her, and I did this inappropriate thing for her that I don't deserve anything, right? That kind of thing. And so from my standpoint, I've just kind of let it go, because I'm kind of hoping that things will kind of go and smooth out. For her, it's been very difficult.
Right. What about your kids?
The kids, they were great, and they've been great. My daughter was like, drove up here from Southern California, to talk to you about something. She's like, "Dad, what is it? Are you sick? Are you dying? Just tell me, what the heck's going on with you?" Right? I told her I'm gay. She goes, "Shut up." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Seriously, dude, I'm gay." And she goes, and she just sits there and stares forward. I'm like, "Oh my God, jump out of the car." And we're doing 70 miles an hour down the highway, right? And she goes, "Oh." She goes, "That is so cool. Are you kidding me? Really?" "No, you're kidding with me. You're messing with me, right?" And she kept going on. And then she finally realized it. We had the best visit. She stayed with me for like 3 weeks. And all we did was talk about guys and what we liked and what we didn't like. It was so liberating. And I could be totally myself with her. She says, "Wow." She says, "You're so different now." She says, "I never knew she says, "I didn't think you really liked me that much."
Wow.
But it was because, I had this thing hidden from everybody, right?
Yes. She didn't get the 100% of you.
That's right. That's right. And then all of a sudden, I'm a real person. I'm out there. I'm saying whatever's coming to my mind, and we're just like sharing. It was so amazing. You have no idea what a gift this is for me. For the first time in my life, I'm just who I am. There's no lies. There's no hidden story. It's just my life now, and it's wonderful.
I love it. It's so beautiful and it's so inspiring. And I made a bad comparison here, but I'm going to make it anyway. It's like when you have a secret and you finally come out clean, and it's just a sense of relief, and you get to play full out. I mean, obviously, I don't understand how is it to come out, but in my mind, from what I'm hearing from my guest, this is how those emotions are translating for me.
That's a great term. It's perfect. Have you ever heard the saying, "Sick as your secrets"?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
It basically says that people are as sick as their secrets. And my secrets were so deep and so big and so profound, or at least I felt they were emotionally, that they were poisoning me. And then to suddenly have this lifted off, I could breathe. Suddenly, all the colors were brighter. Life, food, the food was better.
Wow, what a beautiful description of before and after.
So the thing is that before I was having liaison with men inappropriately while I was married. And it was because I had to have real sex. The fantasy world wasn't working for me anymore. Like, oh my God, how did I miss this my entire life? This is amazing. This is what it's supposed to be like. So, am I gay? I am absolutely gay. There's no doubt about it. There's no question in my mind. And if there ever was, all doubts are completely gone now.
That's great. I am so happy for you. And I would like to track back a little bit and ask you if you're willing to share how was the conversation that you had with your son when coming out?
His reaction was a little different. He came down to visit me because him and I always drink beer and hung out. We were kind of like buds that way. He was telling me all about what's going on with him and everything else. He's like, Dad, what's going on with you? He said, my sister told me that there's something that I need to know about, and that Dad's going to explain it to you when he gets there. He goes, please tell me you have not met some psycho bitch. And I'm like, no, I promise you I have not met a psycho bitch. And I go, but I would like to take somebody with us when we go to Disneyland. He goes, oh, what's her name? Mm-hmm. And I looked at him and I'm like, okay. I said, what would you do if I told you that his name is Mike? And he just looked at me, right? So he picked up his beer and he literally chugged the entire beer. Mm-hmm. And then he set it down. He says, Dad, don't fuck with me. And I'm like, dude, I'm not. I'm seriously. Let me back up just a little bit. Before I said this to him, I told him that I was really afraid and I didn't want to ruin our relationship. And he said something to me that was so important. He says, Dad, I love you. And there is nothing you could ever say to me that would ever make me not love you. Okay. That's what gave me the strength to lay all this out. So I left that part out. But in any case, so after that, we sat there and we talked and he says, okay. He says, okay. He says, so let's do this. So we talked a little bit and I told him about, my relationship with Mike and he wanted to meet him.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
He kind of went back and forth for a while. He struggled with it. He kept telling me, he's like, Dad, he says, you're a different person than I ever thought you were. And now when I think of you as my dad, who you are, and then I think about what you're telling me and I think about the life you have now, he says it's really hard to kind of put those two things together. So that was initially, right? So the first couple of months, he actually got to hardly talk to me at all.
That must be hard for you and for him. So what did you do?
I just kept plugging along, calling him, saying, how you doing? And even though the conversations were awkward, I kept having conversations with him.
Seems to me that you were just being the parent.
Yes.
And just give him time to process or whatever he needed.
Yeah, my daughter, she's like, she would call me and we'd talk on the phone just like when she was down here visiting me. My son was a little different. I had to draw him out and he was pretty cool. He went through a stage with Mike where he basically said, Dad, I want to talk to you. I don't need to talk to Mike. So, and then we went through the thing where they came down and they wanted me to get together with them. But just as long as Mike wasn't going to be there, he just wanted to see me. Right. That's great. I understand if you don't want to see Mike, but here's the deal. If he's not going to be welcome, then I'm not going to be, you're not going to hold me hostage. If you can't accept this relationship that I have with this beautiful, brilliant man, then it's not going to be good. We're going to have to hold off for a while. And basically, he came back and said, no, I want to see you, Dad. Mike's welcome.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. I mean, if you will be to divorce and be having a girlfriend, the kids will still go to the process of accepting that partner. Right.
I think I'm better off because they are older. They had no clue. I was really good at my job, acting. I was very deep into the lies. I was very deep into the life. They had no idea, except for later. They started making comments. My daughter said, Dad, I always wondered why you were so into watching my teen girl flicks with me, right? So I used to watch everything with her, Lizzie McGuire and Cinderella Story and all the cartoons and everything with her, right? I love doing it with her, but I love those movies.
I understand. And still, I cannot put it on someone's sexuality. I mean, it could be one's preference, right?
Right, but it was. She said, I should have had a little bit of an idea. She always told me she never knew, she never guessed. But now, after knowing me and knowing that I'm gay, she's going back and saying things in my behavior that maybe she might have wondered or that she thought. My son, very much the same thing, has said the same thing. But it's been really good, and I think that it just takes time.
Tell us, Dave, what is it one piece of wisdom that you gain in this experience, if you will be to give an advice?
The key thing for me is to give them the time and space to accept it for the way they are, treat them myself, be honest with them, let them know how much I love them and cherish them, and how they were the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. And then just let them go out, let them kind of, sort through it. And basically they kept coming back. And the only thing I did is I did keep in contact with them. So if I didn't hear from them for a while, I would contact them and say, hey, how you doing? Just call them to say hi, love you, So that's the one thing. I didn't let them just get away completely.
Right. You were still their father.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And may I ask you, what is the relationship with your ex-wife? Is she in a good place with your new identity?
It's tough. She's trying. I'm pretty good about paying her, support and everything, and money and everything else. She's actually pretty good, but we don't have a lot of a relationship. It's just because I think that she kind of saw me as her, one love kind of guy, right? And so she doesn't want to talk about it. She doesn't want to know Mike. She doesn't want to have a relationship with him. And she only maintains a relationship with me because of the kid. Last year, my daughter is getting married in April. And so this is going to be really odd because I have not seen any of the extended family since it came out.
Wow.
So they will be seeing me for the very first time at the wedding, giving my daughter away, their granddaughter, their niece, everything else. And that's the first opportunity they will have to speak with me after finding out that I'm gay and we're living with another man and has left my wife, right? So I think she struggles with that. I think she would be if her folks weren't there and she didn't have the external influence, because they're basically, these people don't like gay people, okay? They're just stuck in their roots, not open-minded in any case. The only way to live is their way. So they're constantly hitting her with, this guy's ruined your life. I'm the reason for everything, right? And my daughter tells me about this. She actually says, Dad, she says, I'll be over there. And she says, I'm out of here if you don't knock this crap off. You ain't going to talk about my dad that way. But in her family unit, her parents are very matriarchal and patriarchal, very, very much the leaders of the family. Listens. Right. I think that's really kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Dave.
Our purpose here is to redefine family and to allow and embrace and include everyone, because we do get to decide how our family looks like. And if whatever circumstances and reasons how we've been raised, we get to become who we are later in life. I found that powerful, courageous, and inspirational. I mean, I don't want to go more forward than your own family, your ex-wife and your kids. Just from you coming out, they open their mind.
Yes.
This word. And everybody's process on their own time, but now they cannot deny that doesn't exist. So it is a change. For some a little, for some a lot, but it is a change. And that's the change that we want to keep step into.
One by one.
Well, if I could just comment about something, one of the behaviors that, and I shared this with my ex-wife, she would openly display her homophobia when we were watching movies or TV. And in the last probably 6 to 7 years, there's been commercials that feature gay couples. There's been on-screen kisses by men and women. There's been a lot of things that go on. And so we would be sitting there watching TV, and she would openly say, that is the most disgusting thing I have ever seen. I cannot believe that those guys are freaks. She says, that's crazy, right? And here I am sitting there thinking, I actually love it because I don't ever get to see it. And I was thinking to myself, so that's what you really think of me. if you only knew who I really was, then now I know how you really going to feel about me. But I think what ended up happening is after I came out and I talked to her and I told her, you used to say these things and it used to really hurt my feelings. And you had no idea, but I was mortified when you said those things. And she said, you know what? She says, I wish I could take all of that back. I just never knew.
Yes, because she didn't want to hurt your feelings. And there is a lot of homophobic people that they change their perspective because the loved ones are coming out. And in order to redefine family, I think we really need to stress the importance of redefining parenting from a place of inclusion. Because as parents, you have no way of knowing for sure if your child is gay until your child is coming out. So we can't afford to be homophobic parents, because then how we will support our gay child?
Well, because they're not going to come out to you. They're going to be scared to death to come out. So it's going to be just like me. I'm 51 years old. I waited through almost my entire adult, those productive years when you're very physically active and, what a great time to be in love and experiencing things when you're younger. But I missed all of that as a gay man. Now, it's probably the reason why I'm HIV negative and I didn't get involved, because I never got involved in it, right? So I was spared all of that. My older brother passed away from AIDS. He was also a gay man.
Sorry to hear that.
But I think, the thing for me is I carry some guilt with me. And the guilt is that I wanted so badly to have a real relationship. I wanted my own children, my own flesh and blood. I wanted to have that life. And when I first made the commitment to get married, I told myself, okay, this is it. You're going to make this commitment and you're going to keep this commitment for the rest of your life. And the thing is when I realized I couldn't, I felt so guilty because suddenly she spent the entire best years of her life with me. And now I'm gone. Mm-hmm. And now she's almost 60. And her husband's left because he's with somebody else because he's gay. I felt like I betrayed her in a way that nobody ever should. And that's the evil of people not being able to come out. That's the evil. These kids are coming out and they're 19, 20. Oh my goodness, they've got their whole life in front of them. And guess what? They're not going to build a life of lies. They're going to build a productive life because they're going to be 100% who they are. And they're not going to ruin somebody else. They can come out and say, oh, sweetie, you know what? I know you like me, but you know what? I'm gay. It would never work. And everybody understands that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you tell a lie for your entire life, and then suddenly that person comes out, you know what? I understand if she's upset. Mm-hmm. She should be upset with me. I lied to her for 27 years. Right. So I think that's something that, I'm kind of dealing with too. So that's what gives me the ability to be understanding and to try and deal with some of the things that are going on, because you know what? I created this. Even though I'm a product of society, I'm responsible for my own behaviors, which means I did this to this really beautiful, intelligent, wonderful woman. And now here we are. So I think that's one of the things that people need to understand.
Yes, thank you for sharing. And I just want to honor the man that you are, that you take responsibility for her pain, even though your choice and your decision was society's expectation, as you say, quote unquote, a product of society. So thank you for being the man that you are.
Thank you.
And as we come to a closing here, I am curious what you will say to a man or a woman that they are married and have children and they do not have the courage or don't know how to come out.
What I would tell them is that the pain and the loss of myself that I experienced through the lies and all of the deceptions that I had to do, they're very painful and they're very hideous. They make you think my children will hate me, my family will hate me, I have no life, I'll never find anybody, I'll burn in hell for the rest of my life because I did this. And all I can say is that my coming out for me was the best thing that ever happened to me. My career has taken off because now I'm a whole person. I'm not distracted with lies. I'm not trying to watch how I walk or talk or to keep people from knowing I'm gay. I'm not trying to lie. I'm focused totally on my profession now. My kids, I have an open relationship with. There's no wall between them. There's no hidden thing that they always have known was there. And I thought I was hiding it from them. The color, everything in your life suddenly blocked. You suddenly have hope again. you suddenly, the world has wonder for you. All that darkness that was closing in on me because I was where I was at, that's all gone away. And it's been lifted off my shoulders. And suddenly I can get up in the morning and get motivated about it. All I can say is this burden being lifted off of you is the most wonderful and freeing thing that you can do for yourself. And if you can find yourself the ability to get through it, and there's going to be some turmoil. There's going to be some challenges and some awkwardness, and there might even be some anger and hate. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's so beautiful to get to go snuggle with somebody that you're so attracted to and love so much. You can't wait to go to sleep with them, and you can't wait to wake up with them. You can't wait to go do things. I say, guys, ladies, take a chance. Fulfill yourself. Become whole.
Powerful. Thank you so much. Great advice. And thank you for your sharing today. I really appreciate your story and I appreciate you.
Can I tell you one thing?
Of course. Go for it.
I really appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
When I first came out, I had no resources. I couldn't find anything on the internet. I struggled. It was my friend Tammy that I met that gave me my chance to meet friends and to understand the community. But at first I was lost. I didn't know where to go or what to do. What you're doing is so important to me because if it can help somebody to understand not only how to deal with their feelings, but maybe even find resources, you're doing such a service to everybody. And I'm so pleased. And I've always said that this was the one thing I wish could have been better when I was first coming out, was to have somebody to talk to and to understand a little bit about everything that's going on. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. And before we say goodbye, is there anything that you might want to add?
Well, thank you, Simona. Thank you. It's been such a pleasure. I just, you know what? Every time I do something like this, it's healing.
Yeah.
It's rejuvenating, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity. And I thank you so much for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to Redefine Family, a Spark Transformation podcast. Feel free to share your story, knowing that your story could change someone's life. We invite you to spread the love by sharing our message with others. And leave your comments at spark@redefinefamily.com. Until next time, remember that you are the spark in your life. Just shine bright.